Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Myra Salcido with the University of Texas Permian Basin for my English 1301 course. I am finishing reading all of your paper 1, narrative literacy autobiography. I am giving some people a chance to revise the paper, especially if you wrote about two different in fields of interest of what was a literacy. For example, say you said music is a literacy and so is soccer. Pick one, soccer or music. And either one you pick, you would need to define terms and show that there is a literacy and a language in its own right in learning to read music and in learning soccer terms, plays, sign language, hand movements, whatever. So you need to prove it's a literacy. Also define literacy. That paper should be at least 3 pages long, and everybody's pretty much done with it. So we are moving on to the second paper in the class. Okay, the first paper was about you and your journey to literacy. Paper 2 coming up, first draft due March 20th, so it'll be here before we know it. It focuses on somebody else who learned to become literate and learned another language usually on the job, or they may have gone to university first and learned technical writing or science writing or something like that. So you need to interview somebody who does some kind of writing on the job, preferably not a relative. Interview your best friend's relative. Don't interview your mom or dad or somebody in the family. Pick somebody you don't know. Ideally, you would select somebody to interview that is doing something you would like to do, say a teacher, a coach, athletic trainer, somebody that works in a lab. And pre-COVID, this was the kind of assignment where you had to go out in the field and go to somebody's office. And now that's problematic, especially for nursing students to try to go to a hospital and interview somebody. Can do it right now. So you can do phone interviews. You can record people on your cell phone interviewing them. And you can do video conferences, Zoom. That's good because you need to describe what the person looks like, what they dress like for work, and their writing environment. Mine's not so great today in my office kitchen because of the time of day and the sunlight coming in and the lights hit the screen if I just use lights. So anyways, make sure they do some writing on the job. Don't find somebody who says, I don't do any writing at all, and what are you going to write about for 4 pages? You have to get to 4 pages with this assignment to the bottom of page 4. Start with a description. What does the person look like? What does their workplace look like? What kind of education do they have? What attitude do they have to their job? How do they feel about writing? Is it a chore? How much, what percentage of writing do they do on the job? And it's really awesome if you can include a paragraph of their writing style. Now, if you want to see how this is put together, I put a sample student paper that was pretty professionally done by a freshman student. I put it in Unit 6. It's the interview with the writer module. So the paper is called Dr. Chaco and Rocks interview with a science writer. So Dr. Chaco is basically a geologist, had rocks in his office, so that's where she got the name Dr. Chaco and Rocks, which is a snappy title. It makes you say, what is that about? And kind of intriguing. If you just called it interview with a science writer, not too exciting. So you can interview a teacher, you can interview a coach, and you would be amazed how much time a coach puts into writing in the job, writing application letters, writing recommendation letters for students, writing to parents, writing down plays, preparing for games, strategies. I have students regularly say, I picked somebody that I figured didn't do any writing on the job, and they said it's 60% of their job. And find if they write by hand, if they write down on sticky notes and then type it all up, if they have to fill out forms on a computer, how accurate does their writing have to be? Well, if you're in a hospital, it could be life or death. If you're a nurse or a doctor and when you're writing down medications and amounts of medications and technical terms to get the condition of someone's condition exactly accurate. So think about it, try to make it interesting. And I want you to look at Dr. Chaco and Rocks and see how the student does it. How it's not Q&A, question, answer. No, it's written in essay style, narrative essay style, like you just did with your own literacy, narrative, autobiography, whatever you want to call it. It's that style of writing. So you need to have interviewed somebody pretty quickly. Find somebody pretty soon to do the interview so you could take some time to put the paper together. And I will look for another paper called Nightline, and it was written by a professional journalist teacher. Not journalism teacher, she was a journalist and a teacher. And it's called Nightline. And this is what she found out when she interviewed a police officer at night. She sat in his car, which you know, rare chance to set something up like that, rare opportunity. And he told her to look at the computer where they could see GPS stuff and all in the dark. And then he told her, look away, you know, for a minute, there's a little hint of blindness, night blindness. And also because of that, officers do not write notes in their cars in the evening, because there's also the night blindness of coming up, someone walking along the side of their car, and if they're sitting down and they're taking notes, typing in notes, they're blind to what is coming up to them. So that was a real interesting term to find out. And if you get a sample of somebody's writing, sometimes it's really amazing. Well, hey, I did have, they asked you don't interview your own relatives. You already know them too well. You're not going to learn much new. I did have a student who had an aunt who was a writer that wrote novels. And she interviewed her. It was one of the best papers I ever got. So you really need to put yourself into the major papers because that's a chunk of your grade. It's more than 50% of your grade is how the 4 papers fall out, and we're on paper number 2. The next one will be a documented essay, and then the final one is a group paper. And I will explain those so you don't have too much at you at once to listen to. So please do look in Unit 6, Module Unit 6, interview with a writer. And you don't have to find somebody that's a writer that writes books. You just have to find somebody that does some kind of writing on the job. So it's pretty wide open, but get started now. Gosh, it's the 11th, and the first draft is due March 20th. We will go through a peer review where you will look at 2 other people's papers, at least, and write a few, more than one sentence. I liked your paper, dude. See you next time. No, you need to write a few paragraphs on what they could do to improve it, what you thought was great, what you liked, what you thought the reader needed to know more about. And it doesn't hurt to get contact information if you have to go back and email somebody, ask them another question. Usually people are patient with that. Emails don't make for the best quotes. Getting quotations by email because they're really dry. People tend to correct until they send you something that looks like it came out of a manual or a textbook, and there's no personality there. So think about that, and I'm going to put night blindness in the module right now also, so you can see what professionals do, how they make it interesting. And it's a lot of information, but if you do all the things that I just told you in 10 minutes, 10, 11, now it's going on 12 minutes, you will have 4 pages easily. So I'm going to call a time, and I will let you know through email, where I will get on Teams Live and you can ask me any questions you want about this. I wanted to give you this little mini lecture first, and then if you have questions, please attend the live video conference. And I will probably make it this Friday after 4. I've got staff development meetings from 9 to 4 on Friday. So Friday at 4 o'clock, if you have questions, come on. I can record the session so other students could watch it, and I'll add more information at that time. And I will be able to send you a link to get the recording, to access the recording from Microsoft Teams. Now, the way you will get in the recording is you will have to check your UTPB email, because it's email and Outlook, and Microsoft Teams sends you notices that you have been invited to the meeting. And you join through the link that you're invited. So I hope that helps. If you have questions, email me. Otherwise, I'll be finishing up reading your papers. And also, the book club for 1984, you needed to respond to 5 people. 4 to 5 people, and talk about reading like a writer, and the prompts that are in there. Answer those prompts. Don't just write a summary of the book. So read the prompts, answer the questions, respond to 5 people, and I'll open that back up in case you did not respond. That's huge. That assignment is 25 points. That is huge. The responses are important. So I think that's enough to give you right now. And I will get this spooled up on YouTube and be in your class. So I'll see you at the next video. Happy writing.